What's up guys, I am back with another cooking video. Tiff and I, we've been so busy lately, from working on a TV show pilot to working on a podcast. She's working on a podcast. We got a lot of stuff going on. But anyways, it is holidays are coming up and I thought, why not make a cooking video? Holidays always make me want to make food because it's nostalgic for me. Growing up, there's always lots of food being made and my mom used to like making Chinese food. So I've decided to make a dish that my mom used to make for Thanksgiving a lot, and that is Cantonese styled braised duck. Now, duck happens to be one of my favorite birds to eat. Definitely a lot better than turkey. I think it's a little too dry for me. And duck is on the opposite end of the spectrum where duck has a very thick layer of fat in the skin. And so it's very thick and it renders really well into the meat and it stays really juicy. And this dish is not to be confused with the Peking duck. Peking duck is a roasted duck. This dish, however, we're gonna submerge it into a braising liquid. It's a fast recipe considering it's a whole duck. And it's one of those dishes where it's so aromatic, it fills your house with this beautiful, wonderful smell. The type of smell that brings me back home to my childhood, and I can't wait. And if you've never had duck and you're gonna try duck for the first time, give this recipe a go and let me know what you think. All right, so first up, you get your duck. Most ducks that I've come across are always frozen. The safest way to defrost the duck is to keep it in the fridge and let it defrost slowly in the fridge rather than keeping it out. Now, when you open your duck, it's gonna have a lot of gizzards and hearts and organs, liver, what else? The neck of the duck. I like to pack all the innards inside a plastic baggie for a later usage, if I decide to use it, because I don't always use it. In fact, most of the times I pack it in a plastic baggie and then I just end up tossing away a couple days later because I realize I'm never gonna get to it. All right, so it's always good to wash the duck before you get started. And once you have it washed, put it on the cutting board. And there's this flap of skin that I always find annoying. So I always chop off that skin that's where the neck is supposed to be, I guess. And then from there, I like to hit the duck with some salt and pepper, front and back, and rub it in. Because the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sear the duck on the outside. Gently place it into the wok. Now, the beautiful thing about this recipe is that it's a one pot recipe. Well, there's a roasting thing afterwards I'll get into later, but for the most part, we're doing most of the work in one pot, and by pot I mean wok. And the best thing about a wok is that it acts kind of like a pan and a pot at the same time, so pretty cool invention, I would say, a wok is. So we lower the duck into the wok, no oil needed because the duck has so much fat that it's gonna render the fat out and it's gonna be basically pan frying in its own grease. And you basically just wanna pan fry it, both sides of the duck, just to brown up on both sides. And what you wanna do is just crisp up the skin. All right, so then once you got your duck seared on both sides, go ahead and remove the duck from the heat, put it in a baking dish, and you're gonna see that there's a lot of oil inside the wok. So we're gonna discard the oil. Now, the beautiful thing about all this oil that you get, I actually like to save the oil, and I love saving this rendered fat because duck fat has a very unique flavor and it just gives you a lot of different possibilities in terms of using this rendered fat for other dishes. All right, so now on to cooking our aromatics. What we're gonna do now is take 1 tablespoon of that duck fat, put it back into the wok. We're gonna toss in our ginger and garlic, the quintessential ingredients in Chinese cooking, in my opinion. Like almost everything, like stir fry, everything begins with ginger and garlic. So we're gonna have 5 slices of ginger and 6 cloves of garlic. We're gonna toss that into the oil and we're gonna stir fry that, saute it, and really sweat the flavors out and infused into the oil. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of sugar and we're gonna melt the sugar into the oil. Next, we're gonna be adding the liquids to the wok, and this will be the beginning of our braising liquid. So we're looking at light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and Chinese rice wine. These 3 will be the foundation of the coloring and the flavor of the sauce. Chinese rice wine has a very floral essence to it. The way it smells, the way it tastes, and we'll need about ½ a cup of Chinese rice wine. After that, add 1/4 cup of light soy sauce. And after that, add 1½ tablespoons of dark soy sauce. And that's gonna give the hue, the color of this dish To balance out the savoriness and the sweets and the floralness, we're also gonna add 3 tablespoons of vinegar, just regular vinegar, adding just a slight amount of tang to it. And now we're gonna start introducing our dry ingredients, our herbs. In this bowl, I got some star anise, some cloves, and some bay leaves. Now the star anise I have, it is near the bottom of the bag, and so I have all the broken pieces now. I'm pretty sure I grabbed about 3 star anises worth of star anise crumbs. In this mix, I also have 6 cloves and 3 bay leaves. So I'm gonna plop all that stuff in there, mix it around, and it's gonna start smelling real good. Every time I cook with star anise, Isaac always thinks I'm making pho at home because he loves pho, and star anise is a big part of the pho broth. It's like that unique cinnamon flavor. So because of the star anise, I know Isaac will like this dish too. All right, so now that we got all our ingredients mixed in, you might be wondering, well, this is a really salty dish. There's a lot of soy sauce in there. Well, you're right, it's gonna be very salty if you don't add some water to it. So it's very strong flavors at this point. We're gonna tame that flavor a little bit with some water, and we're gonna add about 3 cups of water, and this would also raise the braising liquids up high enough so that we can submerge our bird. We bring up the braising liquid to a boil, and we carefully lower the bird back into the wok. Now it's a full wok full of boiling liquids, so be careful, don't just plop it in there. I've done that before and it's not very fun. Now I always like to put the breast side down first because it's the thickest portion of the duck in terms of needing to cook through the duck. So I put the breast side down first and turn the heat down to low and let it simmer. Now you want to cook this dish for a total about 45 to 50 minutes. That works out to about 2 to 3 flips every 15 minutes. So after every 15 minutes, we're gonna go back, we're gonna flip it, and we're gonna expose the back of the duck to the braising liquids, breast side up. And after another 15 minutes after that, flip it back around, breast side down again, and just back and forth up until about the 45-50 minute mark. And this all really depends on the size of your duck. I guess if you have a huge, humongous duck, maybe even go for a full hour. All right, so now the duck is done with the braising process. We're gonna go ahead and set up that baking dish that we had earlier with the duck. We're gonna put a rack inside the baking dish so we can elevate the duck from being sitting in its own juices. Now it's time to work on the glaze. Now the glaze it's very simple, nothing fancy. It's literally 1 part honey, 1 part water. 1 tablespoon of water, microwave it, get it to be hot, and then I like to add my tablespoon of honey, and then because of the heat of the water, obviously the honey is gonna melt easily into the water. Mix it up, whisk it together, and voila, you got your honey glaze. Very, very simple stuff. And what we're gonna do with this honey glaze is we're gonna just brush it on top of the skin, so then we can have some sugar on the outside of the skin, so when we finally do the last part, which is roasting the duck, the sugar and the honey will help char the skin, which then creates a nice outside texture for the skin, and it's gonna be beautiful. And once the duck is done being glazed, we are going to put it in the oven. The oven should be set at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. We want it relatively high so that it could char the skin of the duck. And we're gonna roast it for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until the skin is crispy to your liking. And once you're done crisping the skin, go ahead and pull it out and let the duck rest for 10 minutes. And let all the juices redistribute into the muscles, back into the meat of the duck. And the next part is the best part, serving time. Now you can always serve this as with some rice or inside of noodles. Generally I like to put this with rice, but sometimes I just like to caveman it too and just eat it as is. All right, moment of truth, guys. Duck sauce. That's the best. And duck is hugely underrated in my opinion. No one ever talks about duck for holiday seasons. It's always turkey. I'm gonna tell you though, duck is where it's at. It is a fattier bird, but because of the fat, it's also a juicier bird. This is a nice nostalgic meal right here. The aroma in my kitchen, the flavors in my mouth. Part of my childhood right here. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this cooking video. If you've never had duck before, again, give it a try. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna start making these cooking videos more often again. I really haven't been doing a good job with making cooking videos on the regular, but moving forward into the new year, I'm gonna try and make more cooking videos. And feel free to let me know what you want to see me make, and I look forward to seeing your comments down below.